Live in quarantine from her house, here's today's host, Ashley Black.
Hi everyone, welcome back to a new episode of The Fresh Take. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley Black of Jet Fresh Flowers. Today we're speaking with the owners of Rosa Flora Limited in Ontario, Canada. This family-owned and operated farm is known for their impeccable quality and sustainability, and Jet Fresh Flowers is the proud exclusive South Florida distributor of their amazing products. Help us give a warm welcome to the owners of Rosa Flora Limited, Arielle and Ralph DeBoer. Thank you guys. Yay. Thank you both so much for joining us. How are you both doing?
Doing good.
Doing great. Doing wonderful. Thanks for having us.
No, we're really happy to give this opportunity to our customers. We're huge fans of Rosa Flora Limited. Mike for sure is a huge fan of you guys, and we really wanted to give you guys a platform to be able to, we wanted to speak to our audience to give a great perspective on what's going on in Canada, what's going on, and just to learn a little bit more about your farm. So before we get started, if you both don't mind introducing yourselves, and then we can segue into your business.
Go ahead. So my name's Arielle DeBoer, and I was born in the Netherlands, and my parents started Rosa Flora back in 1978. Nice. And so we've been involved with the business for a long time.
Yeah, my name's Ralph DeBoer. We share the same last name because we're married. And I came into the business when I started dating Arielle 25 or so years ago. And I've been here for a while and really loving it.
Well, that's great. And I love that you guys are a family business, very similar to ours. Being husband and a wife team, how did you find the fit to join in on the family business? Where it's very similar to you and I, Ralph. I'm in that same boat. I'm curious. How did you get involved?
It's gone well. Like any relationships, they require work, and you make them work. For me, it was the transition into the family business was good in that it's a large enough business where we work together, but we're not in the same space all the time, which is, I think, healthy. I've got more of a technical background, grew up in agriculture, so look after primarily production and operations. That's really, sort of what I'm trained in. And Arielle oversees human resources and marketing. And so we do very different things on a day-to-day basis. But of course, as owners, come together to oversee the entire operation.
That's perfect. And how big is your farm as far as, company-wise, greenhouses? What do you guys have that our audience doesn't know about?
Yeah, we're a large farm greenhouse operation in Southern Ontario. The land base, sort of home base, if you will, here for Rosa Flora is about 300 acres of property. And on that 300 acres of property, we have about 45 acres of covered production area in greenhouses.
That is amazing.
45 acres for people who aren't familiar with what that might look like. The average football field, for example, would be about an acre. So picture 45 football fields of cut flower production here at Rosa Flora.
And you guys have a huge list of products. I mean, could you put a number on about how many different items that you guys sell?
Yeah, good question, Ashley. A lot of what we sell, most of what we sell is grown here on this farm. We do have some smaller relationships with smaller growers in the Southern Ontario area where we do bring some purchase product in. The list of what we grow on this farm can be broken down into 4 major groups, primarily large Gerbera daisies, mini Gerbera, Lisianthus, and snapdragons. And when we break those 4 main groups down, we've got for sure 50 plus varieties of large Gerbera, 50 or so mini Gerbera, and the full offering of snapdragons and Lisianthus in every color you can imagine.
Yeah, you guys have the most amazing stuff, even from like the Stephanotis, things that are so unique, and anthuriums. You guys do so much of the most amazing stuff. But what I found was really interesting was that you guys began as rose growers. Am I correct? How did that transition happen, and what was the reason for that transition?
I know I was going to speak, but no, Ralph is more equipped to speak to that. But we started out, so my parents grew up in the Netherlands, and my dad grew up on a rose growing farm. And so when they came and started the business, they started with, do what you know. And so we started with roses.
Okay.
And they kept with that until about 5 years ago at this point.
Yeah, no, in the early 2000s even.
Oh, really? Trend?
Yeah.
Okay, not too long ago.
We started transitioning into other cut flowers. And the primary driver was, the truth be told, it was competition from southern jurisdictions. Primarily in our case, in North America, we saw a lot of competition from South America, Colombia and Ecuador primarily, who were really good, had great climate conditions for growing really nice roses.
Yeah.
Labor costs were different, so it became a competition issue. And similarly in Europe, they saw the same trend. Africa, Kenya, and Ethiopia primarily were growing really cost-effective, high-quality roses that were being shipped into Europe, and we saw the same dynamic in North America and South America. So for that reason, we started looking at other crops that were actually harder to grow, maybe more sensitive to transportation, that we could do exclusively here well in Southern Ontario and ship easily in our pails in water, which didn't require to be transported, say, via air.
Perfect. What was the first product that you guys started growing?
Yeah, outside of roses, there were a bunch of roses, tea roses and sweethearts, and then we grew to a large degree. Snapdragon started, more than 20 years ago now.
Okay.
We've done a bunch of small things over the years, limonium, anthurium on this farm, and then outside of this farm. So things like that. Yeah.
And when did Gerber daisies become a big source from you guys?
Yeah, Gerber daisies started quite small, I would say, about 20 years ago as well. And then we really expanded that program, I'd say 2005 through 2015. It grew gradually as we got more capable growing Gerber daisies, and as the market really grew to appreciate the quality of a large gerbera that was shipped upright in cards in water. That's really our specialty, to be able to take any cut flower product, cut it from our farm, have it in our pail, in our water, on our truck to our customer, within a day or two, really anywhere in North America, especially the eastern seaboard.
Yeah, the cold chain is impressive. Jeff Fresh has less than 1% of claims from your products. I think our customers are just really huge supporters of what you guys offer and the quality and performance that comes from it. Sustainability plays a huge factor in how your farm operates. And with the yellow pails, how often have you guys been shipping in water? Is that because of the Dutch influence that you have, Arielle, that you guys have always been shipping in water, or?
Absolutely, we always have been shipping in water. That is definitely the edge that keeps us separate from any international kind of competition.
That's amazing. And as far as the cards go, did you guys have that idea with shipping gerbs that you needed to do it in this kind of organization? Or did you try other methods before shipping them in cards?
Yeah, Gerber can be packaged differently, but yeah, the traditional cards have been around for a while, rackets, different names for them. But in principle, especially a Gerber, because it's a round, large petaled flower, which is sensitive to being damaged, shipping it in a racket or a card is really the preferred route. And not only shipping it in the card, but we take it one step further and have them, typically when we can, always upright in water. So that combination for a Gerber, we would say, is essential. Any competition that we see them, when they're shipping that type of product horizontally, dry, or even in a wet pack, it's just not the same as being from the farm in the water right away to our customer. So it's the cold chain, as you've alluded to, Ashley, but it's also what we would say the control chain, in that from our farm through our hands to our cooler, on our dock, on our truck, with our driver to your dock. That entire chain is not only cold, but it's controlled by us until your door.
It is amazing. Yeah, Mike is always checking temperatures. We're always seeing the consistencies from it, and we have such a great relationship with you guys that we're so grateful for it. And when we lost our Gerber daisy supplier, that void needed to be filled, and what a huge opportunity it was for you guys to do that. Do you feel like ever since we partnered up that maybe there's been a change in the growth of Gerber daisies, or is Gerber daisies making a comeback? Did it go away? What are you guys seeing from Gerber daisies itself?
I think we certainly hope, and we believe that they're here to stay. They are a staple cut flower, which is very showy. People like it. They're offered in so many different colors and varieties that you can make them work in a lot of applications. And to your question about, what have we seen change? I do believe, Ashley, because of the strong relationship that we've developed with JetFresh, we're able to, convince the end user that you can have a premium Gerber product in water, even from a place like Ontario, going to Florida and being distributed from there, and actually having it be in better shape than being imported from somewhere else. And I think the consumer is seeing that and appreciating that. And to your point, even about the losses, if you're talking about a 1 or 2% loss, well, we all know that's a really small shrink number. So people are certainly willing to pay a premium even for a premium product where they don't have the losses, because what the consumer and what the wholesaler ends up with is actually more value.
I absolutely agree. And what I think what's amazing about your farm, what you guys have done a lot of changes to be more effective and sustainable for the environment. I was really impressed just visiting your facility, and the first thing that you see is the giant windmill and just everything that you guys have. And I was just curious, not curious, I want the audience to know what it is that you guys have done change-wise that is benefiting the flower industry sustainable wise.
Yeah, I think part of it is our upbringing and maybe our European roots, where you tend to be, you see the resources and the earth around you and you want to protect it. And certainly we both grew up on farms, and as farmers, you kind of grow up with your hands in the dirt, and you drink the water on your farm and you breathe the air on your farm, and you know that we are stewards of this creation, and we've been given something to look after, and that's kind of our philosophy as farmers and as people. That has translated into asking ourselves many times, how do we do what we do, show the beauty of the creation around us through flowers, but do it in a sustainable way? And it's been wonderful to see actually how easily in some ways that can be done.
I think you really said that well. That you've seen, of course, if you look at our website, you've seen it. The reusable pails, different from many other folks. Using the wind energy, using the biomass for heat, the marshland for filtering water. There's just all those little ways help us succeed, and I think more and more people are looking to help organizations or support organizations that think about the earth.
That's perfect. Have you seen as a business side that these sustainable changes have helped you guys save money, be more cost effective? Or
absolutely. It's not only the right thing to do, but when it's done well, it does add to the bottom line, in that the resources that we need as growers, many of them are renewable. Using the sunlight, of course, the rain that falls from the sky, the ground that we live on. Those are all available to us to utilize in a responsible way. And when we do that properly, there are savings. I think a couple of good examples, as growers, we use a lot of water for irrigation for sure. Many people are surprised to hear that we don't have a well on our farm, and we are not hooked up to our municipal water supply. So then the obvious question is, well, where do you get all this water for your plants? And the answer is really quite simple. It falls from the sky. And we've over the years, been able to dig enough water reservoirs here such that we capture the rain on our greenhouse roofs, and all of that rain that falls from the sky ends up in a large pond, and we draw from that pond as we need the water. And then when the water that the plants don't use, because they don't use all of it, we do collect that water and send it to a different pond, which has some of the fertilizer still in it, and then we bring it back into our system. So with the 45 acres or so of greenhouses that we have here, we do not draw water from a well, and we do not draw water from municipal sources. It all literally falls from the sky, and we use it.
That's amazing.
So it's kind of a neat application to demonstrate, there's been some thought and some costs and investments to make that happen. But once you do that, that does add to your bottom line, because we don't get a water bill each month.
That's huge. I know many people who would love to have no water bill. That is the best. But you haven't seen a difference in how this process has changed the quality of your flowers, though, right? You would say that this is all.
Yeah, a difference. I think maybe to piggyback a little bit more on the analogy I just gave you, Ashley. So when you collect your own rainwater, that is obviously naturally purified in that it's fallen from the sky and it's in your pond. So for example, if we have a dry summer and you have a drought type of condition, we're not at the mercy of, for example, a well that might be dry or dirty. We're not at the mercy of, our municipality who might not have the water to give us. So we have the water in our ponds that we're able to filter through biological wetlands. So in some ways, I'm more assured by our water quality because we're in control of it ourselves, and therefore that higher water quality, for sure, as a grower, translates into a better flower. We know that if we have poor water quality, it will translate into, say, for example, a gerbera or a snapdragon or a lisianthus flower that is not as robust and as strong.
That's great to know. And yeah, I mean, you guys have as far as every process goes from the beginning, it's all very smartly considered. And I'm very curious now how you guys are doing in this pandemic, because I'm sure no details are being left. And I'd love to know just how you guys have been operating and what the story has been like since it all began about a month or two ago.
Yeah, I think everyone was kind of taken aback, right, by the nature of the situation and the fact that it was so widespread. That we've been through a serious situation as a business several years ago, 6 years ago, with a fire, and that was just us, and we were able to see what the path forward was and take that path. This is everyone having the same journey of trying to figure out the best path. So, and everyone's disadvantaged with the market situation. Same as you, Ashley, as you shared earlier, we saw, definitely a reduction in sales, but a rebound for Mother's Day. And so we're so pleased and thankful for that. There is a demand for our product, and we're also pleased and thankful that we are a year-round business. So just because Easter was a very poor sales window, doesn't mean that our year is over. So yeah, we're just going to keep responding to the market as it presents itself and try to create opportunities as we always do.
That's perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as growers ourselves, and we're getting into this side also, so we can kind of see just operations wise and everything, how you guys are able to function. Is there any limitations to what you're offering? Are you focusing on certain products, or just social distancing and just trying to, keep that cleanliness side? What's your focus right now?
Yeah. Operationally, we've tried, certainly when this, really started in a big way, say mid-March or so for us, we saw sales plummet very quickly as things slowed down. So operationally, we were able to control our operation somewhat in that slow the crop down, maintain quality, and take this engine that's normally, for example, running at 1500 RPM and slow this thing down, which was effective. And then as the weeks went by, we've sort of sped things back up, and spring has come, of course, and the weather has helped us. So operationally, things have gone very well in that regard. The quality of our product is still very good. And it's springtime, so it's a lot of, had this for us happened in, for example, October or November, it would be very difficult to go into a dark, cold season and have to do what we just did. And further to that, the main thing is, and I think with many people, fortunately our farm has stayed healthy. Yeah. Our employees and our families have not been impacted by the virus, which is really good, and our local community has been relatively healthy. And the other natural, I think, advantage we have in this situation is that we live in rural Ontario. We've got a 300-acre property with, some people working in greenhouses, but in terms of social distancing, it's not hard for us to stay 2 meters away from one another.
Yeah. Oh yeah, your farm is extremely roomy. You guys have so much going on, but also a very well laid out facility. And yeah, we never saw anybody that was too close in quarters. Everything was always so high tech. It was so impressive, and that's got to be from the Dutch mentality, right? Would you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We continue to invest. I don't know if that's something you want to talk about, but
Yeah,
I'd love to know what you guys have in projects. Definitely.
Yeah, we're excited. In fact, I read an email this morning from Holland about a particular machine that we've invested in, and it's for our Lysianthus and our Snapdragon program. Ashley, you may recall when you were here, we start both of those products from seed, and we grow a very small plug.
Yeah.
And, that's that's a little bit of a business in itself to grow these plugs. Well, we've invested in a machine that will actually take these trays of plugs, run them through a sort of a robotic and a camera system, and look at each individual plug and decide whether it's graded as a 1, 2, or a 3.
Oh wow.
And then it'll put it into a different tray. So all of the 1s go together, all of the 2s go together, and all the 3s go together based on a number of parameters: leaf density, stem thickness, height of the plug, etc. And that way, the big advantage for us, and we know that this will translate into an advantage for our customers, is
absolutely
when we plant all of our best plugs together, they will all be harvested together as number 1s. And so we're really excited to get this machine. It's being built for us in Holland right now, and we hope to take delivery in the next month and have it running probably 2 months from now to help us grade all of our plugs. And we're dealing with tens of millions of plugs a year to be sorted and graded. So we're really excited. We've got some cameras and robots that are going to help us with that.
That's really smart. That's excellent. Yeah, because I mean, it just saves you guys time, and you guys are just constantly growing. You don't want to worry about that. Well, while we're talking about this season, and this season is just amazing. What's new or what's available right now from Rosa Flora that people should know about, or that they are missing out on?
Yeah, we've got, we're an exciting, operationally, we're an exciting time now. Our Gerber program has a transition every year around this time where some of our 3-year-old plants get replaced.
Okay.
So we're right into the thick of that now. We're taking some of our older stock out of production and replacing it with new plants. And we've got some new varieties of mini Gerber and large Gerber coming online, and stay tuned for that. So yeah, some new and exciting varieties. Some new colors. The Gerber every year seems to get better quality and more bold and vibrant colors, so that's always an exciting time. And in our Lysianthus and our Snapdragon program, again, working with our breeders, exciting colors coming down the line, varieties that are can be grown more effectively and more sustainably with respect to being protected against disease and things like that. Mm-hmm. That's what we've got. Of newness you want to speak to?
Well, we're starting back, so we're going back to our roots, Ashley. We're going back to roses.
Yes.
And, we're going to be putting a small area of garden roses in the next month or so, and looking for production starting in the summer sometime.
Oh my God, that's exciting.
Yes, we're very excited. It's a small part of the puzzle, of course, but it's just another thing we can offer our customers, another product that we think that will add value and be exciting.
Do you still have a passion for roses because of where it began? And do you feel like this is, yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, well, all flowers are beautiful. I don't know how anyone can say I get sick of flowers. You can never get sick of flowers.
No.
So it's never old, right? It's never old. So every flower is beautiful. So I'm excited about having roses again as well, for sure.
Well, I'm
if I can
excited.
add to that, actually, this style of rose is like a garden type variety, and it's going to be one of these. It's a type of product, again, in line with what everything else we grow. It's a more difficult type of flower to grow, and it will be really sensitive to shipping. So our ability to grow it here, cut it on our own rose bushes, and ship it upright in a pail in our water will be a unique advantage that we have.
Yeah.
And getting it to a facility like yours in a day or two, fresh from the bush, upright in water, and these garden varieties tend to be big, open, round, showy roses that you can't really cut tight and ship dry. So I think we'll be uniquely positioned to offer our customers something that they haven't been able to get before.
I
So
was-
we're excited, and we know, yeah, you'll be excited when you see it as well.
I cannot wait. I was going to ask, is this something that customers have been asking in your region or in your area? Was there a market where this may have been in demand, or you're trying to fulfill a demand? Like you said, their customers have a hard time getting it. So is this a high popular item that's coming up? Garden roses?
Yeah, it's definitely trendy. If you look in the magazines, that type of rose is romantic looking. It's kind of old school, going back to sort of the old school rose that has that look that people like now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, partially customers, I believe, will, well, we know they'll like it. They've been asking for it, but part of it, and what we found through the years as well, is actually as a grower, just coming up with something and demonstrating to our customer that their customer would like it. And I think there's going to be, actually in this case, more of that, because it's something that just, quite frankly, hasn't been available because people haven't grown it. They've grown sort of a traditional tea or a traditional sweetheart, picked it really tight, and shipped it the way we've done roses for 30, 40 years. So this garden type of open rose, very showy, really hasn't been available on a large scale or commercial scale. So we're gonna do it, and we're excited.
I'm very glad. It's gonna compete with the peony market. It's gonna compete with the high-end flowers. Having flowers in water. It's what we think is wetter is better, and you'll have that extra performance as they start to pop open. I can already see the benefits, so I'm already excited. I'm like, as a marketer, this is great to hear coming out from you guys.
The other advantage, if I can add to that, because you brought up a good point, competing or offsetting competition, like, say, for example, ranunculus or peonies, many of those types of products are only seasonal. And over the years, we've been able to develop a program, and these garden roses will fall into that as well, where we can simulate an environment so that type of product should be available at the same quality 52 weeks of the year. And history has kind of taught us that our customers really appreciate that, getting the same quality product all year long so that they can pass that consistently to their customers. And we feel that this product will do that as well.
Well, we can also attest to that as well. The consistency, the quality, our numbers show it, our customers are happy. And I think this is very exciting. I'm so glad you guys shared that with me. I don't know if you told anybody yet that you're growing garden roses. No?
No, this is kind of hot off the press. It's brand new.
It's not a secret though, but it's just hasn't been publicized yet.
Yeah. And to be fair, Ashley, it is quite a small area. It's about 3,000 square feet.
Okay.
So that's small for us.
Boutique.
Yeah, but we're gonna test the waters with this. We're excited again, and because of our history of cut flowers, especially Rosa Flora being a rose grower, initially back to our roots, we're in a position where we say, if anybody can make this work, we're confident that we can do that.
We're very excited, very excited. Well, I think that is a great way to leave it off, because I can't wait to see what's new for the future. I want to give a big thanks again to Arielle and Ralph DeBoer for joining us, and for the entire Rosa Flora team for all their support of Jeff Fresh Flowers. You can learn more about Rosa Flora Limited on their website, rosaflora.com. You can find their products from Jeff Fresh Flowers in Miami. And anything that you need, these guys are amazing. I want to thank you all again for tuning into this episode of The Fresh Take. I'm Ashley Black. Thank you guys again. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you guys.